I'm right here to teach you how you can mix your bass. I mean your live guitar bass. I'm here to teach you how you can mix it. Very important. Yo, welcome back to another tutorial. My name is Jackson Jacoby. This is music production guide. In case you are coming across this channel for the first time, kindly consider click the subscription button, click notification bell, so you'll be the first to receive notification once we upload a new brand video. So we'll be using these genres of music called cultural song and to teach you how you can mix that live bass. What I'm going to train you here has been working for me for years, and I believe that once you apply it on yours, you are going to get the same result. There's no two ways about it. So without wasting time, let's dive straight into the tutorial for today. I'll be playing this instrumental for you guys to hear and see how the bass sits. Then I'm gonna remove all the parameters I used in this live bass and tell you how I was able to mix that bass. So remember, our subject matter is how to mix a live bass, a live guitar bass. So let's just play and you see how the instrumental sound while the bass is being played behind. Okay, depending on what you're using to listen, if you listen closely, you see that the bass is well sit on that beat. So without wasting time, I'm going to take you through how I was able to mix that bass, the parameters I use, the settings I use, and I believe that once you do it on yours, you're going to get the good result. So the area of concentration is the bass. So I'm going to mute all the instruments and just solo just the bass for you guys to hear how the bass sound. So you see, this is how it sounds. I'm going to remove all the parameters that I used on this, both the ones I used on the individual track then and the ones I used on the group track. So I just removed all the parameters I used on the individual track where the bass was recorded. It was recorded perfectly well, as you can see. Let me zoom it. First thing you have to do before you start applying some of the parameters I'm going to show you on this video is make sure you clean up those spots, those places that that was recorded wrongly. Example, those places that didn't cut out well. If there should be a place that is high, you can reduce it. You can do little about gain staging on some parts that are low and reduce some parts that are high. If there should be a noise that comes as a result of the recording, you should try everything possible to remove those noise. So now the bass has been treated, no noise, nothing, and this is how it sounds without those plugins I added. Just listen, so raw. If you observe closely, you discover that there is a noise right sitting on that bass, and it makes it so heavy. Like it makes it not so clean because the noise beside it is not well organized. What you should be doing first is to try to everything possible to put some noise suspensions, reduce some noise suspensions. Already, you know, I like putting my noise suspensions on 10 or 5 depending. So once I apply my noise suspension, you see how it's going to sound. When I bypass the noise suppressor, then you let me play, you see how it sounds. Then when I activate it, you see automatically that the noise suppressor has automatically cleaned up that background noise that come from that bass. So the next thing you should be doing mostly is try to EQ that your particular bass. You should try everything possible to EQ that particular bass, which I'm using my far filter to do that. You already know that the bass is mostly at the region of 0 to about 250 or 350 hertz, depending on the type of bass you're playing. But so let me just remove these parameters totally. Let's play for us to see the wave representation on this our far filter, and you see where actually you can cut off the high end. So automatically what it's trying to tell you right here is that you need to do some high cut, then do some high cut to about 350 or thereabout, 350 or 300 depending on what you're hearing. But for my own case, 358 is gonna be a right spot for me to cut off all those, so that once my vocals set in, then they will not be competing with the range of 3 hertz to about 1000 hertz. That is where your clarity comes on the voice. So if you didn't remove such frequencies at this region all the way down, then you discover that the bass will be competing with your vocals. But I'm not talking about the vocals right now. I'm just talking about the mix of my bass guitar. So right now we have already removed this spot, some of the high ends, and let's hear how it sounds. So let's bypass. Now let's activate. You see, this is a very good strategy and very good tips for you guys to understand that you must have to cut off those low end they are not important on the bass, because bass always saturate itself on the low end. So you have to cut off some frequencies at the high end. So after that, applying that, or then the next thing I do is I do my compressor. I use my arrow compressor to do that. So I make sure I put my attack to 50.1 and release to about 50.2. Then make sure that my ratio is on 4, then my gain on 0. Then I am gonna alternate this my threshold in the extent to the extent that it's not gonna exceed this 3. So listen and see. So we are comfortable at the ratio of minus 16.2, and that is for the compressor. The next thing you're gonna be doing again is to do your EQ. Why I needed to do this particular EQ is because I did a little bit of boost on my low. There's some part of that bass that needed to be boosted on the low. So this is the region where I was able to boost that part. Like I boost about 70x. That part of 70x is very good for us to boost. So I boost it up, then I reduce some frequency of 116, then reduce some frequency in 291, and then I cut off all the low end all the way to 770. So this is for another subtractive EQ I use, and I do combination of additive and subtractive EQ at this region. I use Studio EQ that comes with Cubase to achieve this particular purpose. So let's play and see how it sounds. So what another thing you got to be considering is to put your stereo imager. Why bass is always sit at your center, when it comes to you panning your instrument, your kick, your bass should be at the center. Why you can do other pan on other stuffs like that. But at this region, why I needed to do a little bit of stereo expander is for the bass not to actually sit right in the center, but for it to have some little bit of expansion. So that is more reason why I try to make it a little bit expanded, but not that too much. So I expanded a little bit. So listen and see. I try to place it on 20 at most. Yes. So that is for the studio imager. These are all the parameters I do use on my audio track of the bass. Then the next thing I do is go to my group track, and what I actually do on that group track is particularly to still do some little bit of a compressor. So a little bit of compressor is what I actually do on that part. Then but before then I do the compressor, I use my bass rider. This is a very strong plugin that you should not leave when you are mixing your bass. They are so wonderful. So I'll be using one of those preset that is here for us to see the one that sits well on this bass. Then after that, I'm gonna do some classic compressor, and then I'm gonna do another compressor, and that is all for the parameters I use. So as for the bass rider, this is what I was able to use. So let's play and now change some preset and see how it sounds, and tell it some figures and how it's gonna work like. You see, what actually this bass need is, it needs a rider that's going to be upright. Like, it doesn't need something that's going to be soft or gentle, because already this is a very dance Makusa song, but done in a cultural or local style. So you don't need that kind of bass that's going to be slow or simple or smooth or kind of gentle. So it needs something like upright, something that's going to boost up. So that's why we're using this preset upright rider. So this is the settings you can still apply depending on the parameters that will sit well on your own particular bass. So listen and see how it sounds. So the next thing you should be doing is to dictate, to make sure that there's really a little bit of sensitive at the low end. So let there be a little bit of sensitive at the low end, so to about 43. So that is all for the bass rider. The next thing I do is do my classic compressor. I put my threshold all the way to -20, and I put my ratio all the way to 4 or 4 points. Then my attack is on 2, and my release is on 0.1, or rather you can approximately make it 1. So 0.009 is going to be okay for this particular bass, but approximately it's going to be 1. So that is for that. Then my level is on 8 dB. So let's play with this classic compressor, then you see how it's going to sound like. So I'm gonna bypass my classic compressor for you guys to see how it sounds. Then let's activate it. So you see that the classic compressor helps to boost up all those frequencies that we are hidden. It helps to push it up, all the way up. That is for the classic compressor. The next thing I do was to apply my BT compressor just to complement this, and this is the parameters I use, just my bass guitar preset, and this is how it sounds all. So we'll be playing some part of the song, and you're gonna see how it sounds on that. This is just the way you can mix your live bass guitar. In case you have any question or you have any suggestion, write down in the comment section. And please, in case you're coming across this channel for the first time, please consider clicking the red subscription button, click the notification bell so that you miss any of our content. We post every week, Mondays and Fridays, and I know you don't want to be missing all this great content that come in this channel. And we're gonna see you next time. Remain blessed. I remain your humble producer, Jacoby Jackson.